Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday car service. And I'm joined tonight by Mr. Ian Hartup. Can I refer to you as our motoring correspondent? Are you happy with that?
I think so. That would probably fit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So we're joined tonight by our motoring correspondent, Mr. Jeremy Clark. I'm sorry, Ian Hartup. So
No, don't be doing that.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, Ian?
I'm all right, my friend. I am.
How's your week been?
Worky. I did the NEC show last weekend, which was spectacularly good. Really enjoyed that, actually. And then was working until tonight, and there's people out there wanting to buy cars, which is always good.
You've been very productive in the last couple of weeks, banging out projects, I've got to say.
I've been wrapping up a few bits. I had a couple of bits on the go, and as you've said that, I remembered they're actually over there and not over here where I wanted them. I finished off the Skyline that I've had on the go for a while, and also the Toyota Racer, basically in time for the show last weekend.
There we go. There is your Toyota. What kit was this?
This is a new B-Max Toyota Corona, which I added some SK decals to change it from a Japanese touring car to a car that was raced by Tom Christensen, the legend that is, at Macau in the 90s, I believe. It's a lovely little kit. There's a broad variety. There's a Carina E, British touring car version, and other bits and pieces done from these tooling. They are very, very good at eking all the mileage out of the basic tooling that they can at B-Max New. This is one of the nice things about this. Their engineering is very clever. They engineer them so the window's going from the outside. So good. Minimum of fap from that point of view. The chassis are very simple. The interiors are detailed enough. You know what I mean? They're not. You're not going to spend forever painting the third twiddly knob from the left unless you particularly want to. Combine it with the SK decals, and you end up with a very, very pretty looking car. What I will say to you is, apart from the wheels, if it's not black, it's decal.
Okay.
So that entire livery is decal. Which
what about the silver? What about the silver areas on the?
Yeah, they were on the decal sheet, my friend.
Really? Good Lord.
And they're I don't know what you'd call it. The design of them and the way they're engineered, for want of a better phrase, is absolutely spot on. They are very clever. The sills, the bits at the front and the rear, on the bottom, on the at the bottom of the body, they're all decal. You know, the side piece is in 3 or 4 parts with a piece across the back. And they line up beautifully. And so you get them down over your basic color, get them sealed in, and then you apply your your actual sponsor decals over the top. They're very nicely printed. I think they're silk screen printed, as the Far Eastern ones tend to be. They react really well to Tamiya's decal solvents. and the whole thing was an absolute joy to build. I loved every second of it. I'm really pleased with that one.
What paints did you use on this then?
Well, to be honest, it's all done with Mr. Colour lacquer. So
Airbrush or spray cans?
It's airbrush with that one. Couple of coats of the surface of black to start with, all flatted down in my normal way, and then 2 or 3 coats of very well thinned gloss black, which is C2. But everything else is painted using the color call outs and the instructions, just for ease of work and simplicity. Apart from the interior, with obviously the original kit is for a car that's white, so it had a white interior. Obviously, this car's black, so I painted the interior black instead. But apart from that, yeah, the seatbelts were fun. It's got a full 6-point harness in there with the rear bulkhead locations, which would be quite difficult to show in the photograph. You might be able to see it on the camera if we try, but it's that took a few sweary hours. Seatbelts are the bane of car modelers' lives, let's be fair, particularly racing harnesses.
Yeah. Sarah Jane says, "Nicely done, Ian."
That's a compliment, so I'm pleased with that. It's you know what, it's not perfect. I know the problem is we see the flaws, don't we?
Yeah.
And other people don't. It's not perfect, but it's good enough that it can stand on the display and hold its own against other things. There is another one in the stash in another Tom Christensen scheme that is liable to be done, only that one's yellow, which has its own set of problems, doesn't it? So we'll see how that one looks further down the line.
Here we go. Anna Marie Royal Gould says, "That's a stunning build, Ian." So and Jim Altergott, conversation going on here at the moment. Jim Altergott says, "Sarah Jane, always good to be back where it all started for me." Oh, well, this is very kind. IMC was the first live stream I regularly tuned into on a weekly basis. Oh, God bless you, Jim. God bless you. And we have a message from Mr. Tim Maunder, who says, "Evening from the ambulance station." I had a good chat with Tim today. It was very enjoyable. You've also been you mentioned the Skyline. So what kit is this then?
No, that's the bog standard Tamiya Nissan R32 GTR. That's a classic of Tamiya's lineup. I think it's got 89 stamped inside the body. I was faffing with it. So originally this car was built, and you'll remember those beautiful 3D printed silver wheels with the chrome caps and things that I showed. Unfortunately, they proved the shortfalling of 3D printed elements on the return from the NEC. They don't take shearing loads very well.
Ooh.
So I now have a rim with a set of separate spokes for one of them. And as a result of which, I wasn't going to spend 20 quid on another set of wheels. So not the minute. So I've substituted these, which are from the copious box of wheel spares. I think they're from a Tamiya GT86, painted in a nice dark metallic color and with the center caps in chrome. They even used the tires off of the resin wheels for them, just to get it back on its wheels, kind of thing. It spent a certain amount of this week on blocks.
Was it fixed to a base? I think it was, wasn't it?
Was, yeah. It was fixed to a base, and at there was a section of the A42 or the M42 where the HS2 roadworks are, and there was one of those bits of road where you hit bump and it goes ka-dung, ka-dung, and it's and at some point I think in there it's picked up a bit of a shear load and it dismantled. So well, yeah, that's how it's displayed now. It's behind me now. That'll go in my cabinet downstairs. But the lace work was an experiment in hiding flaws in the paint where I wasn't happy with it, just to try and give it a bit of a zhuzh. I've got a couple of Fast and Furious cars to do, which some of the techniques for I've used on this kind of as a practice. And there you go. So I'm quite pleased with it, actually. I like that. I'm pleased with the lace work, and I sprayed fade, I hand sprayed fades, and that's SMS's Flip Pearl, which I managed to fluff. Now big learning curve with that, but it's coming on. The techniques are there, and now I understand how the product works. I'll do better with it.
I was going to say, you've used pearlescent paints before, haven't you? Or
Yeah.
have you?
I have. Yeah, the thing with this is that these Flip Color pearls by SMS are very reactive to the base coat. So I made potentially a bit of a crass assumption that even though I'd sprayed it over black, it wouldn't be a different finish to over white. I was expecting pearl with a green change element, and I got green with almost a purple change element to it. If you look at the bonnet shots, you'll see that the effect is actually more noticeable in the inset panel, particularly on the tailgate in front of the wing. So I resprayed that section once I'd masked around it to do the fade with the green purple Flip, and you'll see it's a completely different color. So yeah, it's definitely a learning curve at the minute. The 3D printed thing with the wheels, as I think Dean's just said, yeah, they're beautifully done and they are scale, but unfortunately they don't. The brittleness of the resin is the issue.
Yeah. Talking of Dean, welcome aboard. Dean says, evening all, first time joining the show. Well, welcome, Dean. And Dean also says, that's the big issue with 3D printed rims. When I'm self-designing mine, I like to add a hole in the shaft so that I can glue some wire into the hole. Just gives them a chance of survival.
Yeah.
Top tip.
Let me show you what happened to mine.
Okay, let's depart full screen layout. Here we go.
So there we go. This is the wheels I had, and these are Zoom-On's V-Spec 2 wheels, which are designed specifically for that kit. Actually, R32 V-Spec 2. Obviously, they've even got the correct. The word's going at my head now. Oh, they're right anyway. So they fit correctly in the arches and everything. They're beautifully done. They're lovely. They come with photo etch and decals and all that stuff. What they don't come with is the ability to handle the A42. That's what I ended up with. So it's not that you could kind of glue a shaft in the back or anything like that. It literally has sheared the spoke set out of the center of the rim. And I think the problem is that these are so close to scale.
Yeah,
finesse on them is beautiful, and to the point, I'll probably at some point lay another set in for something else because they are just beautiful wheels. But I think what's happened is it's been fixed to the base, and at that point, and there's a load gone across, and it's kind of just the weight of the model has come away from the base, just taking off. But
as Dave Swindle says, potholes, Ian, potholes.
Yeah, that's the M42 for you. It's just one big pothole. And that's disappeared into the back of my rack. So yeah, that's what happened with that. It's a little disappointing, but I still like it with the wheels that it's got on it now. It still looks a really nice model.
Mike Williams has a question here. He says, love the color of that skyline. I presume the patterns are decals.
They are. they're by a company called STS Decals out of America. They do, I think it's about 8 or 9 patterns, different patterns in different size, and so they're all 24th, 25th scale, basically, and you can have them in a variety of colors. I've got a load of white ones and black ones, and I've got some purple ones as well, salted away for a rainy day. They're mainly intended for custom, period custom cars, low riders and things like that. But I just thought it's kind of a what if Fast and Furious car. Let's just call it that. It was just something I was fannying around with. And you'll notice in some of the photographs that there's actually a crack on the driver's A-pillar right at the top of the roof. Once that had happened, I kind of couldn't really get the result out of it that I wanted. So it became I'll finish it. I'm happy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I'm just gonna jump out from that, and you talking about patterns. Share screen. This is a book my late father bought me for my 18th birthday. Let's just get it on the screen. There we go. Add to stage. The Model Maker's Handbook. I was going to go and get it, but I'd have to untangle myself. Written by Albert Jackson and David Day, who used to do a BBC program about restoring kind of furniture and things. Anyway, there is one of the illustrations in there shows you how to get lace effects like you've had on your car, but it was quite literally using a paper doily and then doing it that way.
If I step to my left, and find which drawer it's in.
Great book, by the way.
I've got if I knew what I'd done with those, I'd be really pleased. I've got some packs of like lace type edging, for on your antimacaster, that kind of thing. And I've used those in the past, but these decals are very, very useful. They're not massively expensive. Biggest issue at the minute is the price of postage from the US. And they do some lovely schemes, some lovely patterns, and the guys at STS, their mail order service is very, very good. So I've got that kind of a number, and they're all, there's different widths because it depends on the pattern repeat, if you know what I mean. So let me show you. So in the pack, you can tell the ones I've been using because they're in bits. In the pack here, get your act together, man. That's quite a heavy grade one with like a mesh back.
I'll make a good carpet in a 35th scale diorama.
Yeah, well, I've seen them used on a couple of American sites for all sorts of different things.
Dave Fleming has a question for you. He says, is the scheme on the Skyline based on a real one or just for fun?
I think literally as Dave pressed that, I answered him, which was it. Right. It was kind of me just faffing. Right. So those are the various patterns that they do. And I like this one quite a bit. I've used this on a couple of models now. Remember the little blue 25T hot rod that I built a couple of years ago? Yes. That had it on the roof. So they're really cool. This is basically the same patterns in white. They're not particularly TV friendly because it's white on a pale blue background, but you can see that there. But they're really good. And I'm a big fan. The other thing that the guys at STS do is they do custom sheets. So if you've got something like a really old AMT kit that the decals are shot for, there's a good chance that they will have that sheet in their range. So I've got a kit, an old AMT kit that I've been wanting to restore for some time that has a very, very expansive deco sheet in it. And at the minute, I'm just waiting for that sheet that they've literally made for me to arrive, so that I can get that built.
Captain
A kit
Magenta
called the
says,
Horse High Hauler.
Captain Magenta says they're like magic eye posters for model cars.
Yeah, you're not far off. They do. I'll tell you what, though, getting them measured out and templated right is a bit of a job, because you are properly squinting trying to work out the the sizes. So I've ended up with these are the tape templates for the Skyline. So I just stuck them on the side of my lamp while they were drying. So yeah, they're cool. They're really good. And as I say, STS stuff is excellent. I can't fault them at all, either for their service or for the quality of the product.
Dave says, it does something about we've got apparently we have a technical issue tonight. Dave Swindle says, anybody know why I can't see anybody else's comments on this feed on Facebook?
Depends on where you're on it. If you're on my feed, you'll only see my stuff.
Yeah, Dave Fleming says it does that from time to time to me. Usually swipe left, then right to fix. And Anne-Marie says, I'm the same, Dave. I'm having, oh God, sorry, it's just the things just jumped down here. I'm the same, Dave. I'm having to watch on my phone to see the comments. So
Facebook Live at its best, isn't it?
Yeah. And Lox9, so I like Lox9's thinking. I read Chris Ellis's book, The Scale Modeler's Handbook, when at school, and after I felt like a professional modeler rather. I've got that book. I've got pretty much all Chris's books and his model railway ones, and various incarnations of how to go plastic modeling, because they were updated down the years.
Yeah,
there's just
4 or 5 editions, isn't there?
Prosaic says, I'm only here for the tea. Where's the Kit Kats? The Kit Kats are actually in my Tamiya backpack, which friend Reg bought me the other week when we were on the steam train. Now, Downwood's got a question. He says, question for Ian. How do car builders who make road cars rather than race cars deal with adding seat belts?
I use black paper and bits of chopped up plastic card, so it's easy. Obviously, the seatbelt buckle. Some car model kits include the seatbelt buckles molded to the seats, for the class point. In which case, just a dab of red paint on the end of them. Once you've painted them black, is the clip, and then it's just a bit of tape. Will be the black painted tape laid down the back of the B pillar or similar. So it's fairly simple, because realistically, if you've got a bolted up car, if you've got a bolted up car, you can't really see. I mean, there you go. Look, that's a real case in point, isn't it? Because most modern car interiors are black or dark grey. You can't see much in there. There's a I mean, you can look a seatbelt. There you go. Look, you can just about see that red seatbelt. That's a racing harness, and it goes back in there. Look, there you go. Look. Now, if that's black in a black car, you'll see very little of it. With convertibles, obviously, it's a little bit more noticeable. So yeah, it's basically a find a reference photograph to see how they sit on the real car, and put something together if there's nothing in the kit. I'm going to come to something in a minute that's on the bench. I finally have a Prelude, the Tamiya Prelude, to build. and that has no seatbelts in it at all. There's not even a reference to the seatbelt buckles on the seats. So some bits of chopped up plastic are being just a couple of bits of squarish rectangular section plastic laminated together, paint black, a little bit of red on the end, put it down the side of the seat on the centers, and then I'll probably put some bits of black tape down the seats to make it look like there's belts in there. Having seen the real car today, they're not that visible from outside either. So it's a matter of each to their own. A lot of people just ignore them, which is their choice. If you want to put them in, yeah. I think the only kit I've really seen them in represented in any real, with any real intent, was the Tamiya Lexus LFA that had seatbelts in it. But that was a very special kit. So,
remind me, your final gloss top coat, what are you using for that? Your clear gloss coat.
Right. So the for speed and expediency, the Toyota and the Skyline were both done with my rattle can option.
Right.
It's the super clear UV cut gloss. That one.
Yeah, I gotta get some of that.
It's so widely available now. There was a point in time, when this stuff was like hen's teeth, and with our friends at Albion Alloys now importing the Gunze range, it's starting to be much more available. It really is the best rattle can gloss. The one slight problem is that if you do get it on a little heavy, you might get a little bit of pullback on decals, which is the problem with this. This was my next thing to show people. This is a new BMW that I'm working on. I've got some pullback. You see where there was an edge to the decal?
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to have to do some remedial work on that, but only there, which is what's really I'm quite pleased about. That I can deal with. If it had been any of this lot, I'd have been in real trouble. Yes, yeah.
If it had been actually, Ian, if it had been any of the ones down on the lower side, you could have done what I do, and that's hide it with mud.
Yes, I could, John. Probably, but yeah. To be honest, I'd say that gives you an idea of the finish you can achieve straight. I mean, that's rattle can. I've not polished that at all yet. I've done nothing to it because there's a lovely run just there. Look, there you go. Look. But that's making a little bit of progress actually. That one now.
So you rattle canned it and then stuck it in the Von Chef.
I did overnight at 50 degrees and left it running, which I very rarely do. And it was, well, it's rock hard now. It's
you see, this is the thing I do with my Von Chef is that if I've done like a gloss coat, I'll put the model in there for about 5-10 minutes, but then I'll switch it off and just leave it in there.
Yeah, I gave this because I was also trying to get this one done for the NEC, but then I had a minor setback with other parts of the model, so it got put to one side. And in respect of this, I'm quite glad I did, because it means I can pick these up and repair them. But I wanted it done really quick, so all three of those shells went in. Oh, for a good, they were in with it running at 50 for a good 24 hours. And it's
I haven't got the confidence to do that at the moment, but well, I'm sure I'll learn to do this. Got a question here from Sarah Jane. She says, Ian, I built that BMW M6 some years ago. Do you have the rear decal for between the rear lights? Mine didn't, and I had to ask Nunu for it, and they kindly did.
Unfortunately, I'd always put all the other detail decals on it before I realized it wasn't there, and then found out that I could get it from Nunu. I can't get these bits off of them. So I'm just, to be honest, I'm just winging it now. It's getting done. So I thank you for that. I did actually find out after I'd gloss coated it, got everything else on it, and sprayed the black area that there should be a decal on the back deck, and I was unamused.
Mike Williams makes an observation. He says, might that dehydrator for that length of time / temperature have caused the pullback on the decals?
No, it was on too thick, Mike.
Okay.
It's the heat. It's the because I'd got I've had this before with normal dried clear, where if you get it on a little bit too thick or a little bit too heavy, and you've got a crack or because obviously that decal's been cut around the roof vent, the roof emergency escape hatch in the roof, basically. It's not an ejector seat hatch, someone told me the other day.
Ejector sheet. You must be joking.
Yeah. It's got underneath and it's just peeled it back a little bit. It's a fair point, but no, I've had it to happen with things before I ever used the dehydrator. So I think that's a no.
Shall we dive on with the news? And we've got round 2. Do you want to tell everybody what this is, Ian? This is
a new tool truck. This is the first new tool truck for AMT in a very long time, officially. They've done recreation toolings, but apparently this is a full new tool. Now, there's a lot of scuttlebutt in the States about whether it's copied from a die cast that exists, but general consensus is that's just people being whingy. But that is a new tool, and there it is. And I have to say, what a lovely beast of a thing that is. It's very much in... I can imagine Russell Taylor getting a little excited about that. He'll be sitting over there in Connecticut going, oh, it's lovely, because I couldn't hear. But I have to admit, I probably wouldn't build one. Definitely more a truck modelers thing, but for the truck modelers that seem to be very pleased with that coming, and you can't fault them really. You know, some of the truck kits that AMT roll out are from the 60s and 70s, much like a lot of their car kits, and they are showing it now.
I think it's Russell who was this from Russell. It says just wanted to show.
No, that's from a page where
oh right,
found the posting.
Right.
So it comes from the photographs are courtesy of Sven's World of Models.
Thank you, Sven. Yeah, that looks quite substantial, doesn't it? 1/25th. It's that kind of American scale, isn't it? It's not quite 1/24th, but yeah, that
it's going to be a good size as well. That I mean, I was trying to work it out. I mean, you're looking at something. It's probably about 8 or 9 inches long. There, that's a lump of a vehicle. And it's got that lovely thing with all the marker lights and the horns on the roof and the tread plate pattern type stuff on the steps. And so I can imagine Hago, maybe out there right now, is looking at that and going, ooh, post-apocalyptic, because that's his bag in some ways. That'd be right up his street. But it's definitely a bit Mad Max.
Mad Max or Duel. I know it's not the truck from Duel, but it does remind me.
Yeah, it is a ilk, isn't it?
It's just got that kind of brutishness to it. Also, slightly reminds me of the car from the film The Car. You must have seen that. Utterly. The ending. If nobody has ever seen the film The Car, the ending is quite spectacular, isn't it? And it it kind of makes you kind of go, did I just see what I thought I saw? Anyway, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a terrific film. It's kind of like, essentially, The Car is kind of like Duel, but a car.
I'll tell you what I watched the other day that's interesting, that a lot of people won't know exists. So, Gone in 60 Seconds. Nicolas Cage and his non-moving face. And Eleanor. So a lot of people don't realize that's a remake. So the original Gone in 60 Seconds is from 1970-71 and features a Mustang Mach 1, which is probably one of the prettiest cars of all time. And the car chase scenes in that are phenomenal because there's no special effects in there at all. It was filmed on a minuscule budget, and the car stuff in that is fabulous. Proper film.
I'll have to look that up actually.
It's actually on Amazon Prime.
All right. Okay.
So if you put Gone in 60 Seconds on, you'll get the Nicolas Cage version, but it will be there as well. I think it's dated 71 or 72.
Yep. Oh,
great film. Really good film.
Every show's a school day, which is what I like about this. Right. Zoom on. We'll zoom on, and here we have Zoom on. So Ian, this is their 24 scale Z220 Toyota GT1 Le Mans 98.
So Tamiya,
tell us what's going on here.
Right. So Tamiya issued the TS020 in 99 Le Mans trim, which has been around for quite obviously since 99, 2000 era. It's red. It's got a much simpler scheme on it. There have been decals kicking around for the 98 car for quite some time, but no one's actually pointed out that there's actually structural differences between the car from 98 and 99. Well, if they have, they've chosen to ignore them. But Zoom On have now done a trans kit. And it's not massively complicated, and he is starting to 3D print some of his bits and pieces like this. So as you can see, there's a photo etch set, there's some seat belts, there's some lighty bits, there's some venty bits, there's some sticky transfers, and there are 3 very substantial sheets of decals. So you've got lights, vents on the tops of that, and then sun changes down the side. It's been needed for a long time. It's nice to see it coming to market. Will I be getting one? Don't ask silly questions.
So
I'm all over that like a rash.
So the white, is that the stock Tamiya kit, or is that
stock Tamiya kit? If you look, you've got vents above the rear arches that are different, and then there's some vents above the back of the front arches that are different. You can just see those, and then the light clusters are different, and there it is. And I have seen one running at a classics event, although that might have been a 99 car, and I have much video of it. It's a wonderful car, and
that is a beautiful decal sheet, by the way. That is stunning.
Their decals are lovely, and yeah, much like the SK ones. There's LB, Zoom On, and SK in that Macau, Hong Kong area, all producing decals that are of the most beautiful standard. I think Sarah Jane will back me up on that, because I know she's used several of them. They are fabulous. That's the new that's the original venting there, you see.
Now, this is, so it says designed for the Tamiya 124 scale kit, total 14 parts, 3-piece decals, safety belt, photo etch, metal sticker, front light detail parts. 338 Hong Kong dollars. So what does that work out in pounds, shillings and pence then? It's just going on to currency converter.
At the current rate of exchange, about £29 plus postage.
Okay, that's pretty good.
We're at approximately 11, somewhere between 10 and 11 Hong Kong dollars to the pound.
Right. So I'm just on the no, currency converter isn't working. Never mind. No, but yeah, because I saw that and I thought, goodness me, $338, and then I suddenly went, no, it's Hong Kong dollars. So
yeah, at the minute the Hong Kong dollar is not at its lowest against the pound, but it's well down there. So we're getting really good exchange rate out of Hong Kong. So I buy a lot of stuff from the likes of them and Hobby Easy.
Right, BMAX Macau.
Yes.
What's the significance of the Macau part of it? Is that where they're based?
Where they're based, yeah. Again, we've suddenly developed. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? We now have a very active cluster of manufacturers and aftermarket suppliers in that area. So like I say, you've got LB Productions. They're doing trans kits and decals, you've got Zoom On doing an enormous range of stuff. From those 3D printed wheels we were looking at just now to decal sheets to all sorts of stuff, which are a large amount of which is in drawers in my loft. And then you've got SK Decals doing decals, and then you've got BMAX coming along and they're producing these kits. This Mazda that we're looking at here previously was only available as a resin kit, or you spent an awful lot of time converting a plastic kit. For them to do this car as an injection molded kit, it's not that you can do loads of variations out of this. It didn't race in many races or series for very long, so they've gone out on a limb a bit with this one, and it's a from the original era where wide body, which is what everybody likes in the customizing house, was actually a racing set, and that's just a corking bit of plastic. This is the test shots. So
I was just going to say there is an awful lot of slide molding going on there,
isn't there just?
But that is just a fabulously proportioned car, though, isn't it? It looks fast. It looks fast as a stationary plastic kit.
Yeah, and it's white and green, if I remember correctly. Richard Middleton will probably correct me if I've got that wrong. It's a pretty car, and that's suggesting that isn't far off ready to ship. That looks like the glass needs a final polish on the tooling, but beyond that, I think it's about ready, isn't it?
And plastic wheels on plastic wheels. That should be a name of a Facebook page.
Yeah, couldn't it? 2-part rims as well, so you can paint the outer edges in chrome and then put them into a pre-painted back section. That's quite. They did. If you remember, they did that in the Zolder BMW that they released earlier in the year.
Are those tires plastic, Ian, or are they vinyl?
They're vinyl. Yeah. Actually, that was a subject of conversation at the weekend. We do persist on having rubber tires in model car kits, but when you look at them, they're not really a scale finish. So there was a bit of a how do you do it and how don't you do it. So I was talking about how I matte coated and varnished tires on my cars to tone them down to something approximate to reality. So yeah, sorry,
I was going to say, do you ever actually paint the tires, or do you just dull them down? Dull the actual sheen with varnish.
Down. I'm not painting unless I'm making white walls. I sometimes paint white walls, but that's an arcane art all of its own as well. Can I say, Sarah Janes just said, pointed out that Zoom On are doing an Evo trans kit for the new BMAX M4. So are LB as well. The LB one appears to be 3D printed. I haven't seen the Zoom On one.
Would that be injection molded if it's Zoom On?
No, the Zoom On one looks like it's going to be resin.
Oh, right.
Which is what that. So the bits in that Toyota were. So I've had a couple of resin bits where there's been shrinkage. So I'm kind of thinking possibly the 3D printed one might be the better, or not the better, the easier one to use. But I need to see the contents of both of them almost to kind of go, that's got that bit right and that's not got that, that kind of conversation. Sorry,
Dean says, stunning machine. BMAX look like they've got the proportions and thinness down perfectly.
Yeah, I agree, Dean. We were talking at the NEC show, Dean and I, and I think that BMAX's quality gets better all the time. I will hold my hand up and say, I had an association with them for quite some time, so I kind of may be talking a bit from a slightly biased point of view, but when you know where they started, which is that, well, the MP4-2 that I was building last year and things like that, and then this is the first new tooling that they were doing, and that's 5, 6, 8, maybe older years old now. It's been around since Pontius was a pilot. The the quality of what they're turning out now is head and shoulders ahead of where they were just a short while ago. And it's like all of the Far Eastern manufacturers, they come into the market with, look at Takom, and Ryefield, and I mean even Trumpeter, although they don't seem to have improved to my mind. Don't Trumpeter? I think they're kind of,
Trumpeter, the
miss, aren't they?
Trumpeter can mold. But what they seem to struggle with is research. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? You mentioned SK Decals. This is a forthcoming sheet from them, isn't it?
Yeah. So again, we're back to BMAX because there's not many other people doing car kits at the minute. BMAX are about to issue the 2007 Yamaha YZR M1 in the camel, all over yellow camel scheme, as ridden by one V Rossi. This is one of the alternate schemes that bike wore in that season. No, they haven't announced that they're going to do it in any other versions than the camel one, and I think the guys at SK very quickly getting them on the market. There's masks in that as well to make it easier to paint. I actually prefer that Fiat sponsored scheme to the yellow camel one, and I will be doing some serious consideration as to which one I go with. But I think that's a really pretty bike. I've got some really nice photographs of that as well.
Yeah, I do like that scheme. It's elegant. I was going to say it's understated, but no, it's quite elegant, isn't it? I think sometimes bike schemes can be a bit in your face. That is quite tasteful, I think, and probably helped by the shape of the bike as well. But yeah, they've kind of worked with the angles on this to, to kind of like get the shapes to fit, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I am listening. Just talk amongst yourselves a minute. I need a book. There we go. We've got a book. The bike is the Yamaha race bikes are amongst some of the most beautiful bikes that have ever competed. And Valentino has never done anything understated in his life.
Yeah,
we'll state that. There. So these books are now sadly long out of print. The publisher went bust. These are MotoGP archives. This is the last one they did, 2007. Rather conveniently, it's that bike. So if they've got, and from what I understand and from the bits of information I have on this kit, this is the level of detail we're talking about on that kit.
Yikes.
Yeah, these if you want reference photographs, and you can find a copy of this one, they are still out there to be had, but they are getting a bit spendy now, and you can tell how well used mine is because the spine's gone. We were talking about understated. That one's coming. I know that one's coming. This one's coming as well, and this one. So there are decals coming for most of these. The Abarth bike, which was one particular race, but that, I stand corrected. That's the one that I think may be coming in the kit. But I believe there's a Camel sponsored bike, and I'm gonna have to do some digging. But there you go. So. But yeah, these are, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. If the kit's as good as they say, as I understand it's going to be, and if it's anything like as good as the Suzuki they did, yeah, that's what set me off for getting me a book. There you go.
Sarah Jane says, I've ordered the BMAX Yamaha. The yellow one is a Dunlop sponsored one.
I've got to go and do my reference checking. There's definitely a Camel bike in there somewhere. I've got to find out where. I might have got my years modelled up, in which case I'll hold my hand up for it. That Dunlop bike will still be beautiful.
Mhm.
It's I think that's the Tech 3 bike, isn't it? Which is the like satellite team. But yeah, I mean, and as I say, they varied them. Yeah, Yamaha Tech 3 Dunlop, so Guntoli and Tamada's bike. But they varied the schemes on them almost every race. So there's a good number that you can build there.
Moving up, oops, Daisy, I've done it
Oh,
again. I promised myself this
You weren't
week that I would remember to turn the previous thing off, and well, remove that from the studio now. I know, right? Next, now I do believe, Mr. Hartup, you have a bit of a love affair for this kit. I think it's the best way of putting it. This is Platts. This is the 1/12 scale Mazda 787B. I think my notes here just say big. Yeah. I think you secretly want to build one of these, don't you?
I do. I'm praying and hoping that Mr. Farmer says to me, Ian, because that's a BMAX kit. So Platts owned the new brand,
Mm-hmm.
BMAX, and then we're linked from a tooling point of view. There's some images of test shots and stuff floating around, but they're not of a quality that's particularly usable. And if it's anything like as good as I think it is going to be, that's going to be fabulous. Bad big, let's just say it. But someone was saying it's going to be expensive. I believe, and I stand to be corrected here. I've seen this advertised for around the 170 to 180 pound mark. That Hong Kong dollar is 1598. So that's 160 quid. So even if it's 200 pounds, your alternative to that is the Model Factory Hero kit at 750 quid.
I'm going to stick my neck out here, being thoroughly ignorant of car kits, but, well, I would say between 150 to 200 pounds for a 1/12 scale car like that, and that is going to be a monster. That is going to be massive.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unreasonable. That's the kind of project that you would build where you could quite easily spend several months putting it together. It probably will take several months to put it together, but yeah, about three or 4 months. And I think 3 or 4 months is pretty good going for that kind of outlay, because you could go out and spend the equivalent, if not more, on separate kits. But it does look good though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they say this is another part, because obviously they've got a series of 12 scales now. So they've done the Lotus 99, they've done an MP4 This is 12003. 12004 is apparently a Porsche 917 Longtail Le Mans car. They're kind of tapping into my brain, and I want to know how they do it, because yeah, so over £200 plus. But it's the value you get for it. When you look at what you're going to get, I was looking at Italeri's reissue of the Protar RE30, I think it is, in 12 scale Renault turbo era car. That's in the £200 mark range. So, and that's a 40-year-old piece of kit. It ain't right good. It's of that. You know exactly where I'm coming from with the Protar from that era. They were challenging, and it will still be challenging, probably more challenging now than it was then, because that tooling's been around a little while. If these are to BMAX's current standard, which is what we've just been talking about, then 200 quid ain't bad value.
I that very enjoyable scooter that I built, the Italeri reboxing of the Protar scooter.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that kit, but I've got to say that Protar tooling. Well, this is why Italeri are doing a new one now. So it's a like for like replacement. That Protar tooling was really, yeah, it was an education. Let's put it that way. We're just playing catch up on comments. Here we go. Dave Fleming gets it. He says that's one of those winter kits that you bring blinking into the spring sunshine as a finished model. Absolutely. Sarah says, at least with the Porsche, they can reuse the tooling. And
they've got to do a lot of changes to it if they want to go to a K. But they can do. There's at least 3 or 4 different body styles for the long tail, but it only existed in the long tail from 69 to 72, so they didn't last very long in that form. Well, actually, no, 71. Sorry, I correct myself. By 72, they'd all been converted to the short tail version because it didn't kill people quite so often.
Dean says there are some images of the 3D printed test shots of the 917 from last year's Shizuoka show. It looks stonking. I think he means fingers. I have my fingers crossed for a 1/12 Jordan F1 one day. And Dave Swindle says that's just the base kit. How much for all the extra detail up add-ons?
They don't count.
You need it.
They don't count. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much they cost. They don't count because the kit only costs 200 quid.
No, only 200 quid.
Dave knows me long enough to know that that's the truth.
Only 200 quid. Listen to us, right? The last items for tonight. This is the thing about doing the car shows, Ian, is that I'm in the middle of doing. I'm in the middle of finishing off an aircraft. And I've just started that ICM armored car. But whenever I do these shows, I think myself, I want to build a car now. I want to build a car. And I do have my Tamiya Ducati motorbike that needs finishing off for Telford. So, and Telford, the clock is ticking. We're at the 6th month stage now.
Stop it. I'll stop it.
No. Right, last dirt for tonight. I think we've only got the last 2 for tonight. Here we go. So Aoshima.
So Aoshima, Aoshima issued. Sorry, yeah. Aoshima issued
2 Aoshima kits and 1 extra. So
yeah, so you remember a few weeks ago I had the Fast and Furious Mazda RX-7. Dom's car from the first film, from the Fast and the Furious. I wasn't sure at the time whether that was a retool or a new tool or what. It appears to be a bit of a mixed thing, but they've obviously made enough changes to that kit to enable them to do other things with it, and it's now coming back out in other forms. This is a C West version. C West are another Japanese tuning house. The original car was a Vale side, and there's obviously then you go from this car, you go to Han's car from Tokyo Drift, which apparently they are also going to issue. They've slipped this one out, new set of wheels, different rear wing, different front end, some new side skirts and stuff, but basically the same common center section. And it's a good way of expanding your range and getting value out of your tooling. And they and Fujimi and Hasegawa, of course, are very good at getting the mileage out of a tooling. The thing with this is that they had to tool up the non-pop-up light elements for the Fast and Furious car, and the C West one has it. So this is probably a way of just getting those extra bits and pieces out of that one. The next one, which is the blue car, that very briefly. So again, they're doing the Fast and Furious Supra, the 6-second car from the end of the Fast and the Furious, which is orange with graphics down the side of it and lovely. And so they've done, it would appear that they've now done a new tool, JZA80 Supra, to enable them to do that. And this is another incarnation of that kit, although this is broadly stock. So this is the 96 late model version in a stock color. This is actually a semi snap together from what I gather, or a snap together kit.
Yep. It says here, sorry to interrupt you. It says here, blah, 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 blah. Now joins the 1/24th scale Snap Car Series. Faithfully recreates the 1996 Toyota Supra. Snap fit assembly, no glue required, no painting needed, thanks to color molded parts, and includes stickers. Includes both stickers and water transfer decals, highly accurate with fewer parts, 2 selectable ride height options, steerable front wheels. Aoshima.
So the ride height thing's interesting. I've seen that in a couple of kits. So Fujimi have done a couple of their kits with that adjustable ride height, and so have Aoshima. So that seems to be the thing at the minute. This is obviously, I don't know, that's some kind of CAD rendering, isn't it? It's not even particularly good CAD rendering, but again, it's let's get the best value out of a set of tooling as we can. So if there is the Tamiya JZA80 Supra has been around a long time, and he's beginning. I have had a couple over recent years, and he's a little tired now. Needs a bit of work. If this is up to current tooling standards again, then it will be good. I believe that Aoshima do not tool in house anymore, so this is likely to be tooled potentially by BMAX, but I won't know until I actually see it. But their new little snap up line is quite cool. You know, they're minimal parts, nice and accurate. You get the choice to go a bit detaily or not. So, yeah, clearly an adaptation of the Fast and Furious kit.
Just going to say, Ian, quick question. So that's a regular kit, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Because it's an older tooling. It's their new tooling that they've gone for this snap thing.
Yeah. Dean says, the 1997 J197 is my guilty pleasure, or the 1999 machine, but a J191 would definitely not go amiss.
That's that conversation about Jordan cars, isn't it? Yeah. The Buzzing Hornets car, gotta be. Or the one with the snake on it that Revel did in 24th scale.
Buzzing Hornets, right, I got to look that up. Buzzing Hornets Jordan.
So if you remember, in the it's got to be in the 90s, Revel did a series of 1/24 scale F1 cars, and so a lot of them were Jordans. They did, I think, at least 2 or 3. They did one with a snake on the side, hissing and something, because they were all sponsored by Benson and Hedges. You couldn't put Benson and Hedges on the car, on a model, on a real car, even at that point in racing. So they were Buzzing Hornets, Benson and Hedges, and then there was hissing. I can't remember what that one was. But yeah, but there was one with a snake down it, and Revel did that snake decal in one of their kits, and they did the Buzzing Hornets one with the B or whatever it was, the Hornet on the front. It was quite cool. Bright yellow, couldn't lose it in a car park.
There we go. Dun, 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 dun.
There you go. So that is obviously from a race outside of the UK, because it's got Benson and Hedges on it, and there's the Hornet on the front. So for races where there was a tobacco sponsorship issue, the British Grand Prix, the German Grand Prix, it said Buzzing Hornets instead of Benson and Hedges.
I'm surprised for cars that have got to go fast is that they had cigarette sponsorship on them, because surely that would be a drag. Oh, I know. I'm here all week. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Right. The final one for the scene. We don't have an and finally tonight, but the final item tonight is Meng. Oh my goodness me. This I think we've got I'm just seeing if we've got the box art for that. I thought we had.
So did
no,
I.
we haven't.
I thought I'd sent you it.
You what? Sorry.
I thought I'd sent you it.
Yeah, I know I went looking for the box art, but it's right. Ian, lead on with this one, and I will go and get the box art for it.
Meng are doing their 1/9 scale kits, and this is a new tool one. This is Kawasaki. The majority of them are BMWs, but this is one of the new Kawasaki Touras, and it's big. It's also pre-finished, I believe. So there's not a great deal of painting involved for those of us who would rather assemble and detail. But it's a corking looking bike. I was imagining Jen would be our fellow correspondent. Jen would be all over that like a rash because she's definitely a Kawasaki girl. So there you go. Let me think. I got one of the BMW bikes which I started some time ago, which I ought to make some progress with. Which is they're screwed together in large parts. I got the unpainted version. You can tell they're intended to be sold as pre-finished because there are some compromises around engineering where if you were doing it yourself, you might not want to use the assembly sequence they suggest because it would be very difficult to finish it without flaws, shall we say. The chassis in that BMW carbon fiber wrapped, so it's best to assemble it in one piece and then add it. But as you can see, this is pre-finished to quite a nice standard as well, actually. Because I know Magic Factory recently have done a couple of these pre-finished bikes, and they've seemed to be very nice, and they're not massively expensive. Those as well. The Meng ones are a bit tasty on price, but and you can see there's screw heads in there, which you'll either like or not.
Well, to be honest, Tamiya, some of the Tamiya motorbike kits, the plastic ones, you still end up with visible screw heads on them where bits obviously get screwed together. And I'm looking at you, Ducati. So,
well, you won't actually with the Ducati because what you will find is there's bits that go over the majority of the screw heads. If you go back to 10, 15 years ago, Hasegawa, Tamiya bike kits for a very long time are regarded as kind of a benchmark of quality for injection molded kits. But they still had things like the exposed screws and stuff like that. Hasegawa came into the market with their 12 scale bike kits, and they started with a couple of very, very nice 250cc Hondas, RSRWs, and they had little plastic bits to go over all the screw heads, and so they look like the bolts that are on the real bike and things like that. And they'd just taken it that little bit further. The molding quality and stuff wasn't quite Tamiya, but the engineering was cleverer, smarter. That's a good word. Shortly after, Tamiya upped their game with their bike kits. So now you do start to see plastic caps that go over the screw heads and things like that in a lot of the Tamiya bike kits. And the recent generation of kits they've produced the bike kits in particular are absolutely stunningly beautiful. Panigale was probably the one that I first realized that they'd upped the game so much on it. And they followed that up with the Kawasaki H2R, which are, they're both absolute works of art. Which brings me actually to, I've got something for any other business on this kind of subject, but so it's interesting that someone else doing something, and then you can almost sense the reaction in the quality of the Tamiya stuff as it just suddenly got a little bit better. It's quite noticeable. You've gone getting your instructions, haven't you?
No, I've just gone to get my Tamiya bike to see.
Yeah. On the headstock in particular, there's a little bolt piece that goes over the screw head on the steering, on the handlebars, things like that. So they have obviously moved they've upped their game on it, really. But these ninth scale ones, personally, they are lovely, but I'm not entirely sure where I'd put more than two.
Sarah Jane says, sorry, Richard says, that's the Ninja KRT edition. I got the previous regular version right here, not pre-painted. And cool. Sarah Jane says, I did the BMW HP4 race unpainted version, carbon decaling the wheels, took a while, and some more while. Yeah, it took a while and some more while.
I've done one of mine. It took me a week and a half. The decals are very good, but the faff involved is spectacular.
That does look a bit tasty though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just we are gonna switch to my workbench here, because this is where I am with my Tamiya Super Leggera.
I remember you starting that at Telford.
Yeah, well, I've been very slow, Ian. I do apologise.
Don't you worry.
But yeah, I am going to have to get a wiggle on to get this finished for Telford this year. But we've started painting things. We've got shiny bits there. It is, and this is the thing that I like about building cars and motorbikes, is because it is massively out of my comfort zone. Is I'm having to think different ways of construction. I'm having to pay attention to the instructions for a start, but I like the challenge of doing something really quite different. And it kind of, oops, Daisy hits head on camera. It kind of reminds me of what it was like when I was a kid, when the things that I would build were down to whatever my parents got me. So I didn't have taste. So I'd be happy just to build something. And
isn't it? You know, if you had Pokemon, you went to Woolworths, it's what you could afford that was on the shelf. Yeah.
But this is the thing I like about doing the builds for the hobby company, is I will be asked, can you build this, and then it will be something else next time. And I really do enjoy that variety. I mean, it's, I'm also aware of the fact that being asked to build something for a national company like the hobby company through associations with Tamiya and Italeri and all the other brands, ICM, it's a fantastic privilege. I count myself to be very, very lucky to be asked to do this, which is why the fact that we are now 6 months out from Telford fills me with a little bit of terror, but it's also an incentive to really knuckle down and get on with things in the workshop. So Mike Williams says, this is the thing I like about Mike. He has that philosophy of, he likes to change genres and do different things all the time. And I think that's brilliant, because that's how we learn new skills and new techniques. Mike says, I really enjoyed building a Tamiya motorcycle recently. Need to build some more. Not keen on the pre-painting thing though, which is what I'm experiencing with the Ducati. But it's good discipline.
The thing with the bike kits, and also with the car kits, is you do a lot of pre-painting. That thing I said recently, and I'm doing some build videos on my YouTube, which I must upload part 3 at some point. Each part is treated as a kit in itself. because if you do that and you get them right and you bring it all together, you will have this result. And that cars and bikes are very much of that ilk. Armor modelers, Andy King, who's not on watching tonight, has just put up some pictures of the Mini Art RSO. You know, the
Steyr,
German Steyr track.
Yeah.
And there's not a jot of paint on that, and it's built.
Yep.
You can't do that with a car or a motorbike, you know. So it is very much different strokes for different folks thing. You know, it's that, you know, we do them the way that suits them best. Yes, Dave. They are. You know, it's there's a more planned and you've got company.
I've got Mothra with me.
Yeah. A more planned and an engineered process around building them. The Tamiya Prelude that's where we are. All the parts are prepared. They're all now ready to mount to pre-paint. So it's that kind of process. It's just step by stepping it. On the subject of the Prelude, I'll ask a question. Is there something that you know of in a kit that makes it stand out head and shoulders above everything else? So we all say how good Tamiya kits are. We know how good Tamiya kits are. But it's difficult sometimes to explain why they're so good. And there's 6 bits of plastic in that Prelude kit that are probably the best illustration as to why Tamiya kits are so good, just in them 6 bits of plastic. And perversely, it's the luggage set. Do you remember when we previewed the kit when it first came out, and I said there's a set of golf clubs and a suitcase and a hold all on that sprue? And we were kind of like, really? I have that on my bench at the minute. Let me show you something. This is the golf clubs. What they've done is, this is the thought process, I think, with Tamiya. This is what sets them apart. There's a mold line that runs down here. It's a simple 2-piece mold, you think? You just glue it together. I mean, it isn't simple because the strap is molded overlapping on that join line. You see it?
Which is what they do often with their figures as well.
Yeah. And so when you put them together, there's no join line on that side. The strap looks like it's a separate strap. The zipper, this has got a tight join line, but here there's a groove on the join line and there's a zipper head molded in it there. That's that. The suitcase.
Sorry to interrupt. So you're ending up with a natural seam line where there would be one.
Where there would be one. Yeah. So you're not faffing around with filling it. This side, it's really easy to get rid of, but that is intended to be there, and there's a zipper head just molded onto it. You can just about see it. It's just by my fingertip. And then, but the suitcase, again, they've done it as the 2 halves of the suitcase. So the join line runs between the 2 raised edges all the way around the suitcase. There's a bit of the clasp or hinge there. Now, if that had been Mini Art, we'd have had 2 bits of frame and a separate hinge, 2 bits of body and 4 separate wheels and a handle and other bits and pieces, and we'd have been building it for a week. But Tamiya do it in 2 parts, and it stands up. But the one that got me most was this. This is the hold all that they give you, and the handle, 2 sets of handles are molded onto it, and it.
Yep.
The seam line? What seam line? The only join line that's visible is the one between the 2 halves of the top of the bag, and the clasps in the middle, where it would open up like it's a doctor's bag, basically. You know, you think the classic doctor's bag. with the hinging molded into it. Those couple of little simple design decisions about how they've done it, with the ends on each piece, and that's what sets Tamiya apart. A lot of people would have just molded a line down the middle of that and expect you just got rid of the seam. But that simple piece of tooling design is it. And I think, as I say, those 6 pieces of plastic there show more about why Tamiya stand out amongst the crowd as modeling manufacturers than anything else.
Like I say, that is very reminiscent of how they break figures down. So sometimes you'll look at a figure and you think, why is that bit there? And, you know, it doesn't make sense. And then the moment you start gluing them together, suddenly seams disappear, or seams fall into folds, or they're hidden by something else. And it's like your cleanup is minimal. It really is.
Well, so the Prelude body, you know, it probably took me about 3 minutes to get rid of the mold lines on it, so it's ready to paint. Their design people they're probably the same design people they've had for a very long time, let's be honest. And they have done so much for so long that they learn all the tricks. And I think it's telling in the way these kits are engineered. This Prelude's another one of these ones where they produce it and you don't necessarily have to paint it. You know, like the GT3, the Porsche that you did, where you know the intentions that you don't necessarily paint it. But if you do choose to paint the body, all the bits that you need to paint are simple and easy to paint. And there's some complex masking in this one on the chassis. That's about it. The rest of it is really simply engineered. There's some there's 2 stays for the rear tailgate, and they're some of the finest molded pieces I've ever seen in a Tamiya kit. They're really, really fine, but at the same time, they're very, very robust. I've said this on another group. Potentially, that is the finest plastic model kit I've ever built. There, said it now.
It's out there. You've heard it here.
Off the scale good.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Right, Ian, we have nearly done 90 minutes tonight.
That flew by.
It always does with you. Any other business? No, I mean that. I mean
that. A compliment or not?
I meant that as a compliment, because the thing I like about doing the car shows is, by and large, you do all the spade work. I get to listen and I get to learn, and that's the thing I enjoy about these.
Yeah, I quite like that. Not that specifically, but the way I like to talk about process and systems.
Yeah, perfect.
So, well, I've got something to try actually, and I'm going to try it this week. I think, given this by a friend of mine. This is it's I don't know the brand. It says E7 Paints. It's got a Facebook symbol on it. E7paints.com. This is a chrome sealer.
Ooh.
And it's acrylic. It's definitely acrylic. I have managed to break the lid, just in case you're wondering why there's tape all over it already. It doesn't smell solventy. So I'm going to have a play with that this week, hopefully. My friend Andy Brown, who's the IPMS competition secretary, gave me that to try. He's bought it in one of the European, because he's based in Brussels, so he got it in one of the European shops, I believe. Interesting to see how it is. If it doesn't dull, because obviously I've got some hyperchrome SMS Hyperchrome on some bits at the minute. Now they do their own chrome sealer, and all chrome finishes to some extent or another are reactive to handling. Alclad was notorious for it. You know, you put it on a gloss base, you dusted it on, you went to glue it on the model, and after the paint was on your fingers, because even after a week of drying, because it was that fragile. Some of the others have gone that way. The SMS Hyperchrome less so, but I'm not getting a consistency to it. I'm getting a patch. Some are good and some are bad, and I think that's possibly my technique with it. I will say that due on this bench, probably in the next 10 to 14 days, is the Tamiya Chrome, the Tamiya mirror finish. I'll probably have that in my possession by the next time we speak on the show, and trust me, I'll be blathering it onto anything I possibly can to see how good it is. It's not cheap. I'll say that. Even on the continent, it's not cheap. And also we would, and Sandy's managed to get some, and we were looking at it. And when you look, when you look at a paint, because we all do it, don't we? We get a Kajara paint, we give it a shake, and we have a look at the bottom just to see what the color is. You give it a shake, and you look at the bottom of it, and there ain't no chrome in that. It's pale gray, like a tanny gray color, both jars. I haven't got an inkling how it works. There's clearly some kind of chemical reaction going on with it, but we'll find out when I have a play. I've got that pickup that Russell sent me. I'm going to chrome some of the ancillaries of that potentially with it, just to take a feel for what it looks like. It's going to be interesting. The fact that they've brought it to market now when it's been mooted for a while suggests that they've been farting around with it for a while to get it right, which is typical to me. They won't put something into market that they don't want in the market. I'm not sure how long it'll be before we see it on these shores. Normally, Mr. Farmer may answer that. He answered my question about the Tamiya Decal solutions by saying they can't be UK certified, but they're available on the continent. The Dutch and the Belgian shops have all got them, so there's clearly a difference between UK and EU certification for the product. So, because there he is.
Where did you get yours from then, Ian?
I believe Andy got them from Domino.
Okay.
So he walked into the store and bought them, and then
message me off air, and I'm going to have a hunt around to see if I can find an online retailer who does them.
Yeah, it's just obviously they are very good. The extra strong is wow. It's a shame they're not on the shelves in the UK. Yes, Dave, smuggled. But I didn't say that out loud, did you? Trust Dave. That's all we can say, innit?
Dan says, I've been looking for the SMS Chrome sealer since Ian recommended it to me recently, but it looks like we're waiting for a ship from Australia as it's sold out everywhere. Yeah, now, my any other business, talking of Mr. Farmer, do you know what, Ian? It's Sunday night. Picks up phone. Mr. Farmer hasn't called, so there is no job in the fire escape trade.
Oh, no.
But I'm hoping to see Mr. Farmer this week, because I am told he has a couple of kits for us. And those couple of kits are ICM gangster cars. So
I really am actually quite looking forward to this kit.
Yes,
I've heard really good things about it. So yeah, I'm not sure whether I should be looking forward to. I've got making it bullet ridden. You never know.
I think the plan is that we will do like what we did with Spence. We will set it at 10 days, and we will.
Not a hope. It takes me 10 days to read the instructions, man.
No, sorry, it's going to be All right, 14 days. But
Oh, cheers, thanks.
we'll set a limit. But once we start work on it, we go dark. We don't publish. We can photograph and catalog what we're doing, but we don't put anything up until deadline day.
Ooh.
And then it's a Kel surprise for all of us then. But I am super looking forward to doing this. I got a 10-day deadline there. I think we'll do a 2-week deadline. We'll negotiate.
I'm willing to bet the damn figures aren't here in time.
No, but the figures can wait. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this. So watch this space, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to happen. I think Andy's got the kits in Clevedon at the moment. So
certainly not going to build that NPC gangster kit in that time frame. I think I'd still be whittling the blooming flash off the wheels by after 10 days. It's
just a bit, yeah. On that note, so hopefully we'll have an update for that this week. A big thank you to Mr. Ian Hartup for joining us tonight. Big thank you to everybody who tuned in. We've got new buttons come up in StreamYard that says end stream. Usually doesn't come up.
They've been fighting around with it. I noticed the other day.
They have, yeah.
Some bits for me.
We've got a new big red button on the top right that says end stream. So we will end it in a minute. So fingers crossed, we'll do another car show in about a month's time, or we might actually do the gangster challenge. We might get that in the way, get that in between, and
there's a bank holiday or two brewing, isn't there?
Yeah, perhaps the next car show in a month's time will be the conclusion of the gangster challenge.
Who knows?
I'm excited, Ian. I genuinely am. So big thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Big thank you to Ian. Fingers crossed we'll be back next week for a regular Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. Ian, you're always welcome to join us for that, because we've got lots of non-car modelling stuff to talk about next Sunday, but you're more than welcome to come along with that. Until then, I will say thank you for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. So in the words of Sooty and Sweep, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.